We come to you this Friday morning, this very cold Friday morning, although it's, thank the Lord, very comfortable here in the gym. We come to you January 3rd. Gosh, it's hard to believe. We're already in 2025. So grateful for your support and that you come along this wonderful yoga ride with me. Hopefully you feel that you benefit from it, whether you know it or not. Your body truly benefits from it, and you'll know that if you practice regularly enough, and then you miss even a practice or two, you can really tell. This practice goes all the way to the cellular level. One of the most extraordinary things I think that it does is it helps us to balance the autonomic nervous system. Because so often we get into that fight or flight mode, and even when we think we've come down, when that threat has been perceived and happened, and then it's gone, and we think we've come back down to normal, but the body stays revved up, and that's not good for the body, very detrimental. So yoga helps us to balance back out, to move back and forth from sympathetic to parasympathetic. Just, I think, amazing. That's just one of the wonderful things that this practice helps you to do. If you come to that comfortable place, whatever that place may be, maybe it's lying down with your knees up, maybe it's sitting here in Sukhasana with your legs crossed. And just find time to be still, something that most of us don't practice enough. We'll start off with that Nadi Sthiti breath, which helps us to balance using both sides of the brain. Most of us use one side or the other. But it's better for us to optimize the utilization of this wonderful mind we've been given. So we start off bringing our dominant hand in front of our face and dropping our second and third finger, leaving our thumb and ring finger and pinky exposed. And we just have a natural breath coming in and out of the body. And then when you're ready, take your thumb and close off your right nair when you're about to exhale. Exhaling through the left nair. Inhaling back through that nair. Then close it off, then exhale through the right. Inhale back through the right. Close it off, breathe out through the left. Inhale through the left. Close it off, breathe out through the right. Inhale back. Close it off and breathe out. Continue that breathing out, then breathe in through the same air, then close off, breathe out, breathe in through the same air. Continue this for several cycles of your breath. Next time you breathe out through the right, then gently wipe away any moisture, as this does help to cleanse the sinuses. Then just allow the natural breath again to flow in and out. Taking time to recognize the breath. Just noticing any thoughts that may have surfaced. Any emotions that are desiring to be felt. Anything that may be calling out to your attention, needing your attention before it can leave the body. So often a thought, an emotion, a feeling, something, and keep gnawing at you because it wants your attention. So often we don't want to deal with that. Maybe afraid of a negative thought or something we don't want to think, or an emotion that's hard to feel, or an injury that we don't want to think about or feel. Often when we give it our attention, then that can help us to breathe through it and allow it to leave the body. Take your next deep breath in. Allow the face to climb skyward. The weight of the head drops back. Notice how gravity wisps away. An expression on the face. Lines in the forehead are let go of. Tension around the eyes released. Any clenching in the teeth, in the area of the cheek, the jaw, all relinquished. Allow the jaw to float from side to side. Maybe move the bottom portion of the jaw up and down and around in a circular motion. Just working through that joint, all joints, wanting, needing, benefiting from motion. Open the mouth as wide as you can. Stick the tongue out as far as you can. Utilizing that muscle in a different way. Then pull the tongue back in, gently close the mouth. Take another deep breath in. As you breathe out, allow the chin to float down to the chest. Feel the weight of the head aid in the stretch as the chin pulls closer and closer down. The body staying long and tall. The bend is through the neck here. Allow the chin to float from side to side, maybe even coming full circle, working through the neck, a prime area where we hold tension, even in our sleep often. The next time the chin rolls over the left collarbone, let it sit there for a moment. Feel the stretch down the right side of the neck. Surrender any desire to work against the stretch. Often we just don't allow the stretch to deepen because we're not willing to surrender the weight. So just let the head kind of drop to the left. Notice where there may be tightness, where you don't need it to be, in the hips and the knees here, maybe the face. Then pull the chin down into the left collarbone. Gently lift the chin up as if gazing over to the left of the room. Feel the stretch as you twist through the neck. Maybe coming a little further into this by twisting through the body, keeping the hips focused forward. The twist occurs from the rib cage up. Begin to bring the digestive system into this because as we twist, we create movement in the inside of the body. Release. Pull the chin down into the right collarbone. Breathe. Lift the chin up as if gazing over to the right of the room now. Keeping the body long and tall, recognize the muscles that you utilize to lift and lengthen through the torso here. And then maybe bring the body more into this twist as we twist from the rib cage up again, the upper thoracic spine involved. Keep those hips forward because we don't want to compromise the lumbar spine. We're drawing that right shoulder back so that we feel the stretch in the chest and the shoulder. We notice that the torso twisting can manipulate and is manipulating the inside of the body. Then come back to center. Take the left arm up and over. Remember, we're not leaning to the right. We're reaching over the head to the right, bicep over ear if you can. Feeling that stretch down the oblique. Same thing on the opposite side now. Right arm over, again, stretching, lengthening through the abdomen. Be mindful of the hips and the knees. Tell them to relax. Sometimes they want to creep up into the posture and you don't need them to. Wonderful. Bring the right leg over the left. So maybe we start off here. Maybe our foot sitting right beside the knee is enough and we can hug this leg and we feel that stretch wrapping around the outer thigh. But maybe you're able to create a little more space in the hip by lifting up, drawing that foot back so that you stack one knee over the other. Again, be very mindful of how things feel when you move into them. So if this doesn't feel good, come back to where we were. So always modify, never have any pain or strain. The great thing though, to really stretch through the hips and create more space there so that the hip joint can be more functional. You can move better. So really important to stretch and work through that hip joint. Bring that right foot out now to the right at a diagonal and just drop and lift that leg. Again, working that hip joint. There's so many things that we're probably thinking of as a restriction, things that we think, oh, I just can't do that, or oh, that's just not good for my body. And it might just be because we haven't worked that joint enough, especially the hip joint. The hip is huge to the body in that area, the hip flexor, the psoas. It connects the upper and lower portion of the body. So we do a lot that is worked through that area. Okay, coming back to center now. Now taking the left foot over the right leg. And always recognizing that one side can be very different from the other. So maybe one side just felt really good just here. Maybe this side, we know that we can come forward and pull that foot back and stack knee over knee and come a little further into it. So it's like an adventure with every practice, because every day can be different too. So it's wonderful that we're not trying to be judgmental or that we're not having too much expectation. We're just coming to where we are today and recognizing what can we do, what can we not do, what feels good, what doesn't, how our balance is, what is our body feeling like today, what are we thinking about. It's just always an adventure, every class, every practice, every day. Take that foot, step out now to the left, drop and lift. So we move back and forth here. Again, just working through that hip joint, creating more space in that joint so that we can move freer and better. And then we'll extend the legs forward. Dandasana, staff pose. So it may look very simple, but then maybe performing it, especially the right way by keeping the body long and tall, maybe this creates a little bit of work to hold this posture, to draw the navel back, to press into the sit bones, maybe even to work through those ankle joints. Staff pose, Dandasana. It is so easy to give in and to kind of roll through the back and slump down. But try to develop these muscles to have a good posture, not because it looks better, which it does, but because it's better for the body to function. Then see if you can fold forward. You can keep your legs long, or you can slightly bend or greatly bend through the knees. So again, being mindful of what you need to do today, what feels good, what doesn't. Paschimottanasana, your forward fold. Again, manipulating the inside of the body, lengthening through the back, thinking more of chest to upper thigh than nose to knee. Great stretch of the back, the hamstrings, the arms if you've extended them out. And then lifting back up. Coming to your tabletop. Always a good thing to assess early on in our practice. How does it feel to be on our hands and knees, especially on our hands, because the wrist and the hands and the arms, maybe that doesn't feel good to put weight into. So we analyze that. We just come to it and just see how it is. How does it feel to put weight into it? If it doesn't feel good, then you want to come to a fist or maybe to your forearms. Maybe you need to work through that wrist joint by turning, letting that synovial fluid roll around the joint to help the joint move freer. We come back to our tabletop again, just kind of shift back and forth again, working through the hips. Maybe coming in a circular motion, seeing how that evolves before, bringing the whole body to it. Wonderful. Ease down into your child's pose. So bringing your arms forward, reaching them out as far as you can. Open up the fingers as wide as you can. You don't think about stretching through the hands, but we do need to do that. Remember, child's pose is a place you can come anytime you need to during the practice. This is your place of rest, or maybe you just need to take a moment. You might want to try a different variation on child's pose. So you may want to lift up, cross one leg over the other, and then draw back into your child's pose now. See how that feels different. Very often it can be just a slight change that makes a very big difference in where you feel it or how it feels to you. And back up, maybe shifting to the opposite way. So now it's the opposite leg over the other, coming back, child's pose. Just a variation, something different. And back to your tabletop. Wonderful. If I lift the body up and flow forward and put weight into the hands, lifting the heart, squeezing the gluteus, dropping the upper portion of the leg, I come into King Cobra, and I notice very quickly that my back is super contracted. So I need to know how that feels to the back. If it doesn't feel that great, then I lift up the legs a bit, or I can bend through elbows. So modify in any way that it feels best to do so. Wonderful. Ease slowly down to your baby cobra. Ujjayi Asana. A little weight in my hands, My heart lifts away from the mat. My head and neck are flat. My face is relaxed. Again, a back strengthener, but not as deep as where we were in King Cobra. I can stretch and work through the back a little more if I pick up my right leg and roll it over the body, tapping that foot to the left, feeling that twist in the body. If this doesn't feel good, modify in any way you need to. And come back. Same thing on the opposite side. Keeping my hands on the mat, rolling that leg over the body, tapping that foot over to the other side. And back. Once again, pushing into the hands, lifting the heart, King Cobra, curling through the toes, lifting up to your downward facing dog. And dropping the head in between the biceps, pressing the heels down. Maybe lifting and lowering the heels here, noticing how the core really comes into play when you take weight off of the limb. So if I lift up my heels, I really feel the core tighten. I can walk my hands back to my feet, coming towards the back of the mat. In my forward fold, Uttanasana, just allowing the upper body to dangle over the lower body. Maybe once again, just shifting back and forth, lifting the heels and lifting the toes. Noticing how the core takes over whenever you lift up. Noticing blood flow to the head. Breathe. Dropping the chest to the upper thigh. A slight bend in the knee helps me to ensure that I'm not overtaxing the upper portion of the back of the leg. And maybe I can lift that right leg now into my standing split. I'm not so worried about my leg and how high it's up there. I'm focusing more on pressing my chest towards my upper thigh. Standing split. I may want to attempt half moon here, lowering that leg to parallel to the floor, taking my left hand up and out to the left, pulling my right hand to my hip, then bringing my right arm skyward. And of course, in my half moon pose, last but not least, gently bringing my gaze up to that hand, recognizing how much vision plays in balance. Half moon. Releasing back down. Maybe you need to come to your Ardha Uttanasana. And maybe you need a moment to bring your hands to your shins and lift your head. Maybe you're okay with your head down, so you learn that. Lifting the left leg now in my standing split, dropping my chest to my upper thigh. So a lot going on here, as often it is in a posture. I'm benefiting from weight bearing. We know that weight bearing builds density in bone. So I'm benefiting the left leg and ankle and foot by putting my weight into it. And I'm gaining flexibility by increasing the stance from one leg to the other. I'm balancing. So I'm working the mind as well as the body. I'm inverting blood flow, which really helps the brain. Maybe from my standing split, I'm going to come to my half moon, dropping that back leg to parallel to the floor, taking the right hand up and out, lifting the left hand up to the hip. And again, last but not least, bring your gaze skyward to that left hand. Very much a balanced posture, but a lot of fun to play with and practice. Release that down to your forward fold. And slowly work your way up to your whole body stretch. Recognizing how the body transitions. If you were there for any length of time, that was a while to have the blood flow coming to the brain, the head lower than the arm. Now we come back to a normal, if you will, position. You notice how the body adapts and comes back. Notice the transition, something that we usually don't notice all during our day. We move too quickly to appreciate all of these things that the body does for us to adapt. From position, one to the other, from emotion, one to the other, from task, one to the other. We take time now to just be still for a moment. Notice what calls out. Into a flow with neck breath. Movement. Inhale the arms up. Exhale down. Uttanasana. Inhale the hands to the shin. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale back down. Forward fold. Inhale to your down dog. Left and right foot back. Exhale to your plank, half or full, knees down or knees up. Inhale, feet over. Exhale, back to a plank. Inhaling, lift, down dog. Exhaling, step forward to your forward fold. Inhale your slow first one dive. Exhale your hands. Start center. Take a moment. Be still. Top of your mat, have your feet about hip width apart. And just as if you were going to sit into your chair, begin to bend through the knees, shift the weight to the heels, press the sit bones down, and lift the arms up. You come to chair pose, just like we were going to sit into a chair. Uttanasana. We'll step back with the left foot behind the right. Drop the left knee down. Hold. So whether your leg is long behind you or bent down, you're still holding a posture. Especially if your leg is bent, balancing, or challenging, working against body weight. Often it's very challenging to be still, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally. Maybe you can challenge here even more. Drop the body down. Dropping that left knee closer to the floor, hovering a bit more. Maybe coming to your twist, dropping a left arm, bringing your right arm skyward. Feel that a little more now in your right outer thigh. When you come back up, try not to push off of your left hand. Try to bring your hands up and push from your right foot. Step back. Uttanasana, chair pose. Pull your arms back, drive the knees forward. So we're trying to create a line from your knees to your hips to your shoulders. This is much like what we do when we're on the floor on our upper back and bridge pose. You should be feeling the quads lengthened but contracted. So they should feel very tight. Then pull back. Bring the arms forward, set to your squat. Nice tight core, relax through your head and neck. You don't need any tension there. Your face can be relaxed. Now come back. Again, as if you're pressing the knees like they're going to roll over the foot. So again, that lengthening, but contraction, a very unique concept or aspect of yoga is we contract the muscle, but it's lengthened. A bit different from what we do normally when we exercise, especially when we're lifting weights, we shorten the muscle when we contract it. And here, lengthening, once more. By now you should be feeling your quads. Core is tight, glutes are squeezing tight, quads are clamped down. And back to that squat. Wonderful. Lift back into your chair pose. Take your right leg now behind your left. Drop that right knee. Quads should be calling on you. Dropping that back knee, or you can lengthen through the leg. You can get a great stretch here, still putting weight into this front foot. You're dropping that back leg. You're taking weight off. So the core is helping you, balancing. Maybe you want to come a little closer to the upper thigh, hovering, much more challenging than if I put weight into my leg, but you need to put weight into your leg, do it. You want to come into that twist, drop the right arm down, lift the left arm up. Nice tight core, nice relaxed base. Breathe. Remember, I don't want to use my hand to push off of, so I want to pick it up and then push from the foot. Come back to the center. Take a big step with your right foot, a big step, big enough that when you step out, then you're in a good high lunge here. So all immediately, I notice need for balance. I can again keep my back leg long, or I can drop it. I want to take that right leg, pick it up, and try to step to the right. Try not to swing, but step to the right. Come into my side lunge. Again, hovering more challenging than resting on the leg, but do what you can. Maybe come to that twist. Notice here your range of motion in your shoulder. Where's your palm? Is it focused forward? Can you pull the thumb back towards you? Or is it better to press the palm away and push that thumb away from you? Can you do both? Can you rotate pretty much all the way around? Just starting to notice what is the range of motion in that shoulder. Again, don't push off of the left hand when you come up. Push from the foot. Now bring that foot behind the opposite leg. Shift the weight to the back leg. There should be no weight on that heel. You're just barely resting it on the floor. Drop down as much as you can. 4, really working overtime here. And step back. Quads should be calling you. Now you're stepping out with the left leg. So we're fatiguing muscles. And this is good, because we know when we fatigue muscles, we strengthen. We break down those muscle fibers. Sometimes we even feel them shaking because they're so fatigued. Step to the left. And then we go home and rest. And then they build thicker, stronger. Maybe we come a little lower here. Maybe we come into that twist. Once again, notice the range of motion in that upper arm. through that joint. Pick up the hand, step back, all the way to the back. Little to no weight in that heel, nice tight core, drop down as much as you can. And step forward. Wonderful. Come as low as you can. Maybe it's right here. Maybe it's a little lower. Maybe it's all the way down. If you're able to come to the floor in your seated squat, widen your stance of your feet just a bit. Start to work with these hip drops, rotating through the hip, creating more space in this hip joint is going to help us function much better. Maybe start with just a tad of a drop and maybe come midway and maybe work to where you can drop that hip joint and lift it back. Again, creating space, working balance. It's huge in many ways, creating more space in that hip joint so that we can work better, so that we're stable on the ground, so that we have a better foundation, more balanced and stronger. Wonderful. Then find wherever you are, as low as you can be, push through the feet and come on up. This should be your practice every day, even if you just do a couple a day. Come as far down as you can and come right back up. Huge. Come to the top of your mat. A sun salutation. Sun is beautiful in the morning. Bring the arms skyward. Swan dive down. Forward fold. Pull the right knee up to the chest. Extend the right leg behind you. Finding your lunge. Bend the back foot. And then just gently swing that left arm from the outside of the left foot to the inside. As you raise the right arm up, you came right into extended side angle. Now, if it's too much to have that left hand all the way to the ground, pick it up. Rest it on your leg. Remember, modifications are exactly what you need to be doing. If you know your body's going to guide you. And that's why it's so important to listen to it. It will let you know what it needs and what it doesn't need. From your extended side angle, try not to push off your hand, but instead lift up your hand and push into the foot. And draw back to your reverse warrior. You're already in your warrior stance. That foot turned at a different angle, and you can turn it even more so to help with the feeling in the knee. If your knee feels kind of torqued, move the foot. Maybe you want to flow from reverse warrior to extended side angle. Working against your body weight. Lifting it up, stretching it back, lowering it down, hovering. Again, lifting up. We don't think about weightlifting here, but we are. We're working against the body weight. Wonderful. Lifting back up. Reverse warrior. If I raise my arm that's down there and rotate to the left, I come right into warrior one. Great stretch of that hip flexor. Such a great posture after I've been seated for long periods of time. Practicing agility, lift that heel, bend the foot. So I'm just pivoting on the ball of the foot. I move from warrior one to high lunge. I slowly come down, working against body weight down. Raise that left leg up into my three-legged dog. Maybe flow forward into a one-legged plank. Setting that leg down, coming to king cobra. Drawing back child's pose. Lifting back up to my downward facing dog. Raising my left leg now, three-legged dog. Maybe flowing to my one-legged plank again. Easing down to my king cobra, and then maybe my baby cobra. Asana. Coming back, child's pose. Breathe. From child's pose, come back up to your downward facing dog. It's the right leg now that lifts. The right knee comes in. The right foot steps forward. As I spin through the back foot, and gently swing that right arm to the inside now, instead of the outside of that right leg, and lift my left arm up. Extended side angle. Again, I can always pick up the arm, rest it on the leg if that's better. Once again, maybe working against body weight. Remember, try not to push off your hand. So pick your hand up and lift. So you're going to lift up that whole body weight. That's a lot. Weightlifting here. Coming to reverse warrior. And then again, rotating. Extended side angle. Lift up. Reverse warrior. And extended side angle. Last one. Lift up. Reverse warrior. Bringing both arms skyward, rotating to the right now. Warrior one. Feel that twist in the torso, especially that lengthening down that hip flexor. Lift up the heel, pivot on the ball of the foot, come to high lunge. Slowly make your way down. Resist coming down. Work against your body weight. And step forward. 2 steps or 1. Forward fold. Uttanasana. A slow reverse swan dive. Yeah. My hands vary at heart center. And I take a moment. Still. Mountain pose to Tadasana. Breathe. Calling out to you right now. What needs, what wants, what desires your attention? Another sun salutation, the arms skyward. On by down, forward, Uttanasana. Now it's the left knee that pulls up into the chest, the left leg extends behind you, the right foot wiggles to the left. We find pigeon pose. Now, if we start to settle into pigeon and it just doesn't feel right for whatever reason, we can always swing that left leg around and come to our reclining pigeon, being on our back with our leg underneath. It is the same posture. It's just when we are up above the leg and we have the benefit of the weight of the body aiding with the stretch of the hip. Now, I've said it many, many times, but I love utilizing pigeon as an example that we are all very different. Some of us may have our leg in the front, parallel with the top of the mat. Others, like me, may have it at an angle. So we recognize what feels best to our body. And we don't look around or even on the screen and say, maybe I should be doing that. We want to try something a little different. That's one thing. But once you start to do something and it doesn't feel right, ease into what does. Your body will let you know what it needs. If I lift my heart skyward, Feel the contraction in the back deep. I notice the lengthening of the hip flexor in this left leg. That's one variation. If I begin to drop the heart down and then do the elbows, working against body weight. Another variation. Maybe I need a rest in my pigeon, coming to my forearms or extending my arms out from me, lengthen from me in my resting pigeon. I want a little more stretch or a little more balance in my pigeon pose. So I would slowly pull the back leg up. Taking the right hand in and maybe reaching back with my left hand to the left foot. Again, these are all just options to try. See what feels best for your body. Of course, I can always bring balance in by lifting the arm up and balancing here, which is a lot of balance, working against that body weight. A lot of variation under pigeon. Another great stretch though, to lengthen through the hip flexor, which is contracted way too much as we sit. Make sure your hands are underneath your shoulders as you come out of pigeon. We're going to curl through the back toes and come to our plank. Half or full, so knees long or knees down, whichever you need. And then lift to your down dog. Take that left leg and extend it up. Bend through the knee and push the sole of the left foot to the right as you look up and underneath your left armpit, feeling that hip flexor lengthen even more in our hip opener. Lengthen through that leg into our three-legged dog. Flow to your plank, whether it's one-legged or both. Settle into your plank. Maybe practice chaturanga. Roll through the toes so the shoulders just come past the hands. Bring the elbows in and slowly come down. Chaturanga. Lift with your heart. Baby cobra, maybe all the way to your king cobra and back into your frog. Now it's the left leg that climbs skyward. The left knee comes in, and the left foot comes right over to the right as we fall right into pigeon. Now on the opposite side. So that right leg really extended beyond us, back beyond us. Feeling that stretch in the hip flexor, again, such a great posture after being seated. So assume the pigeon variation that's best for you. Long and tall, hovering and challenging, resting and lengthening here, maybe with the arms out in front of you. Maybe a little more challenging. Pulling slowly that back leg in and reaching back forward. Ready to move out of pigeon pose, you curl through those back toes. Make sure your hands are underneath your shoulders. As you come to your plank, lift to your down dog, raising the right leg now skyward, bending through the right knee. Look up and underneath your right armpit and push that right sole of the foot to the left of the body. Feeling that stretch lengthen down the hip flexor into your hip opener. And lift back. Release into your down dog, step forward, forward fold. Uttanasana. A slow reverse swan dive brings me up. Hands here, heart center. Once again, I find mountain poses where I can just stand and assess. What goes on for the body to transition back to its normal position. Then we move into some balance work. You pick up one leg and bring it to the side, the opposite arm reaching to the other. The core of the body stays just as it was. Maybe we can bring arm to leg and back. If that's too much, you can bring elbow to knee and back. A lot of weight working against body weight, lifting, moving, balancing at the same time. You may notice if your mat is very thick or if you're on carpet, step out to a more solid surface. So our surface that we're on makes a big difference. Find your tree pose. See what tree is best for you today, whether it be small with your foot on the floor, maybe pulled up to the shin. Maybe you're able to pull it up higher. It doesn't matter. This is not a competition. We're just seeing where we are today. Vrikshasana, tree pose. As you move into the new year, most people or a lot of people have a resolution, if you will. Maybe just start to slowly, little by little, adapting better practices. Maybe start off just with a week or two of drinking more water. Maybe from there, letting go of high sugar food. Sugar is a very inflammatory ingredient. It drives inflammation in the body. Maybe trying to get to the point where you're not eating as much processed foods. So things that aren't in their whole natural state. To begin to look at ingredients. Try to eat more fruits, vegetables, things that are the way they are when they are derived, they are created. Try not to take on too much at one time. I think a lot of us try to just do it all at once, especially after eating maybe a little differently during the holidays. Maybe start one by one. Drink more water for a couple of weeks. Then from there, maybe start to slowly let go of processed foods. Maybe exercise, maybe practicing yoga. Little by little, though. Where we tend to, I think, do better instead of going full force and trying to change so much at one time. Come to the top of your mat, go on the sky, on, dive down, fold, asana. Whether you set one knee down and the other or come to your seated squat, that's up to you, whichever is best for you. If you are here in your seated squat or on your knees, and your seated squat may look a little different, maybe your heels are up, that challenges balance, but maybe that's better for you. Maybe I can bring one arm down, raise one arm up, my twisted squat here. Maybe the opposite. Maybe finding my way back to the center of the mat, crawling with my crab crawl here. Turn my fingers so that they're looking towards my toes and begin to put weight into my hands. See how that feels again. If it doesn't feel that great, make a fist. Drive your sit bones as close as you can to your heels, but try to hover them over the mat if you're able. And then bend through your elbows, creating a little tension in the back of the arm in that tricep area. And then lift up. Again, come down, come up. Try to bend those arms as much as you can. Come down, come up. Just a few, it doesn't take many, wouldn't take long to feel this because we don't do a lot during our daily activities to work the triceps. But when we do work them, the body says, wow, this is a new thing. And we feel it. Wonderful. Push the knees forward and lift if you're able. Lengthen through the arms, then come back again. So just adding a little more to that. If that's not good for you, stay where you are. Really working through those triceps here. Should be feeling the arms here. One last time. Lift and bend. Push the sit bones all the way down to the heels. Lower the upper body down. Walk the heels back up to the sit bones if they're not already there. Your feet and your knees are hip width apart. We're going to keep our gaze to the ceiling as we lift the sit bones up. And now we come to just as we were in our squat portion. Remember when I said right now we're very much like we are on the floor in Setu Bandhasana. So this is just like what we were doing when we were standing. But now we have the benefit of inverting blood flow. That's why we're very careful to keep our gaze to the ceiling because we're in an inversion. So this is your bridge pose. Still, like when we were standing, creating that good straight line from the knee to the hip to the shoulder. Quadriceps clamp down and tight, contracted. We can lift the hips or the heels up. The challenge here that makes our core clamp down because we took off weight. Setu Bandhasana, bridge pose. Such a great posture. Ease the heels back down and then lower the sit bones. Pick up the right leg, bend it, and put the leg on top of the left. So we make the number 4. And you can stay right here and create a little gentle pressure to the inside of that right leg to stretch and open and lift the piriformis. You can also pick up the left foot and drive the left knee towards you, feeling that stretch deepen around the hip and the sit bone there. Pressing the lower back to the mat. Feel that contraction in the core. Anytime you make the number 4, you're helping to stretch that piriformis, which is wonderful for sciatic nerve pain. Wonderful. Lift that right leg, stretching through that hamstring, create dorsiflexion in your foot. So bring your toes pointed to your face, press the sole of the foot skyward, but at the same time, press that lower back to the mat, lengthening through the back of the leg, that hamstring. Then cross that right leg over the left if you're willing, or you can keep the knees side by side, drop them to the left, bring your gaze to the right, getting to twist through the spine, creating wonderful flexion and strength and resiliency in the spine. You can extend that right arm out, work against body weight again. Cover the arm, turn the palm skyward, drop the shoulder down. Breathe. Pull that arm in and use your core muscles. Really tighten your abdominal muscles to lift the leg up. Uncross them. Set the feet down. Pick up the left leg, put it on top of the right, making the number 4. Maybe staying right here, just adding that gentle pressure. Maybe pulling that right knee towards the face, stretching a little deeper in that left leg. Even grab onto the back of the right leg to intensify that if you would. Then lift that left leg, setting the right foot down now, getting a great hamstring stretch. Again, that dorsiflexion with the foot, lengthening of the leg, helping to stretch through that hamstring, to the prime area where a lot of us have tight. Then when you're ready, crossing that leg over the other, dropping those knees to the right, your gaze to the left, sending that left arm out, turning that palm skyward, hovering and dropping the shoulder, hovering the arm, dropping the shoulder, to stretch through the chest and the arm, work against body weight, but all the while twisting, strengthening, spine. And then using the core, pick up the knees, give the legs a hug. Hugs are so medicinal. Hopefully this won't be your last one today. Extend one leg out from you, cover it if you can, raise one leg skyward, bring your nose to the knee if you can, and then scissor. A little bit of lower ab work here, working against body weight again. Strengthening those neck muscles if you're able, keeping that head up, bringing the nose to the knee. Wonderful. Both legs coming skyward now, and you're up the wall. Such a beneficial posture. Again, coming to a hug and then expanding the space from knee to knee as we open up and create gentle pressure again to the inside of the knees to help stretch the adductors. Go ahead and grab onto shin, ankle, or big toe and come into happy baby with your legs at a 90-degree angle. Just float back and forth. Such a great posture, very free. Amazing how infants and babies just know how wonderful it is. And so they start to do this as they start to learn about the body. They very innately just allow the body to do what feels good. This is one of the postures they usually see. Lifting back to your up the wall, and then of course bending the knees and letting them flow to the floor. And listening to the communication of the body telling the mind, you're done. You can fall into a relaxed state. And then see what that is. What posture does the body feel as a relaxed posture? Enjoy being there. Breathe. Take a slow, cleansing, deep breath in. To release that breath, visualize things that you've been holding on to that you don't need anymore. You don't need to drag these things around with you. Let go. Feel that freedom, the lightness, the weightlessness. Peace. Begin to allow the body to move. Turn, lift, lengthen, stretch. Whatever feels good, allow the body to do it. Always bring in thoughts of gratitude to be able to have rest and be still, but to be able to move. When you're ready, take a deep breath in, rotate to one side, and as you push up, exhale. Come back to that seated position where we all started just a little over an hour ago. We always like to recognize that we are in the same position, we're in the same place, we're on the same mat, but we're not the same. We're ever changing. And anything we can do to help us to adapt to change and to pay attention to transition, to pay attention to the body, help us be more aware, more mindful, more appreciative, more respectful of this wonderful body we've been given. As we bring our hands to heart center, we start this new year with peace and love, not only for others, but for ourselves, with forgiveness if it needs to be given, to let go of things like resentment, bitterness, to enjoy joy, hope, peace, and contentment. In our yoga practice, we always state that simple salutation, namaste. It simply means the light and life in me honors and respects the light and life in you. Namaste. Thank you so much for being with me this whole past year, for many of you, many years. I appreciate your support and I love having you practice with me, and I look forward to 2025. Have a safe and wonderful and healthy new year. See you Monday at 11:15. Namaste.